Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
Let's hit it.
Hit it.
And here we are.
Hi,
for episode
everybody.
93 of our podcast.
Hello.
You have to remind me, actually, when we do our specials, like the Halloween and Christmas specials, we should probably record them a week earlier so that when we do release them, it's not 7 days later.
I mean, bearing in mind we didn't talk anything about Halloween, really.
No, we did make some scary noises right at the end, so I don't know if that counts.
That was the twist.
We might have come across as a bit creepy, I don't know.
Yeah.
More than usual.
Yeah. But yeah, because I think we released that just, I keep saying we, pulling you all under the bus with me. I'm still using the excuse of having just moved as the internet, the moving. That's why things have been so chaotic recently.
There's only so long you can get away with
I've been
that.
there for 2 weeks now, and it's sort of
milking it.
It's like coming out the shower. I mean, you can say, oh, sorry, I can't take the phone call. I'm coming out the shower. But there's only so long. You can only get a buffer of about an hour, really.
an hour. That's
Oh,
right.
a shower, yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think we went on. It went live just after Guy Fawkes night. so you couldn't really tell what we were celebrating other than reading the headline. And for just in case anybody overseas doesn't know what Guy Fawkes night is, it's where we celebrate the life of Guy Fawkes and what could have been. I think that's what it is.
Well, the execution, yeah.
I'm not saying that's entirely inaccurate, but
we celebrate the torture and execution of a Catholic terrorist, yeah.
yeah.
When I was at Catholic school, we didn't celebrate Guy Fawkes night. We didn't celebrate Bonfire night. No.
I liked that. I was listening to another podcast. Sorry, everyone, and they were talking about how, legal challenges pending. How many people were celebrating worldwide Trump's defeat, Biden's victory, are probably celebrating more that Trump lost, and they were like, "Yeah." And in the UK, they were setting off fireworks, and it was like, "Oh, guys, no, no, you're muddling that one up."
I like it that when I heard about this marketing show, and they were talking about how a lot of the marketing budget goes on hours spent. Where when you come up with a name from a brand or anything, you have to sort of go through every country to make sure it doesn't mean something completely different in that country.
Yes.
And it takes a long time to go,
But then you still get like Bell End Jam and stuff.
Yeah, there's still, the marketing budget wasn't that big. What is the Guy Fawkes night in England? What is it exactly in a couple of, what are we celebrating or not celebrating?
We're celebrating the deliverance of His Majesty King James the First and the Parliament from the cruel popish plot to assassinate him and reinstall a Catholic monarchy.
It's that he got away. He didn't get. They caught him. That's what they're celebrating.
Yeah, that's what they're celebrating. Yeah.
He got caught trying to put all these gunpowder barrels literally under number 10.
But then
they were there. They got pretty close.
Yeah.
No,
he was grassed up, wasn't he? Didn't he get grassed up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was the Judas? I'll put that name on the list.
I'd have to look that up. It was an MP who was not. I think he was related to one of the other conspirators. We all remember Guy Fawkes, but it was about 20 odd people.
So
Catesby was the leader of the plot.
That it blew up. All the people died. What happens? Don't they not just got to load more people? What would it have done? Was he going to overthrow?
I think the idea was to, as is often the case with these, kidnap one of the children and install them on the throne. Make them be a Catholic and install them on the throne.
But you'd have to kill a lot of people for it to not be just somebody else go, well, I'm in charge then, and we carry on as normal.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, the problem was there wasn't any real popular support, but I think they just went with the idea of let's cut off the head and...
Oh, I thought there was like another 1,000 people ready to sort of march.
No. I mean, there's often, with a lot of these rebellions, you think, we all know the ones that either fail miserably, like that one, or the ones that succeed. So the glorious revolution of 1688, I want to say, and that were, we don't celebrate that one so much anymore. We don't really bother about it, but at the time it was a big deal. But a lot of the time people go, I'm going to overthrow the monarchy, and it's like 10 people turn up, and you go, yeah you're
just going to push you out the door.
And it's often about people say, "Oh, I have a better claim to the crown than them because my cousin was Archduke Horatio."
Yeah, my best friend's cousin's husband.
And they were king of Spain, and then they got married, and so actually, I have a right.
Well, yeah, I mean, by that time there wasn't anyone other than the Stuarts who had a claim, because there had been, by that point, the Yorkist and Lancastrian claims had all been either everyone had their head cut off, or they'd married into each other's family. You know, the War of the Roses. So this is the Stuarts succeeded the Tudors. All the other peoples, the De La Poles, the Mortimers were dead.
When there were viruses, they were they just had to let them die out. No matter what they did, there was nothing medical, was there? So it just died out naturally. Every single one.
Well, quite often the monarchs would just flee to somewhere safe.
But it was just thinking it was. I don't know up to what year. I don't know, penicillin or antibiotics. But it just basically any virus just died naturally. Nothing was ever cured.
Well, they had
you'd have some
didn't
immunity,
yeah.
But quarantine.
But did they know what it was? I mean, did they know lockdown?
God's punishment.
Because wasn't it part of the Enlightenment where, because they realised all these toad frogs' legs, and no matter what the king ordered to be stuffed up him or out of him, it didn't make any difference. And
I mean, people don't believe in germs now. Yeah, people don't believe in viruses today. So.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
God,
the argument is I can't see it, therefore it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well,
that's genuinely what some people say.
Coming out of the small metro Tesco, and people now not wearing masks. Now, still not wearing masks. I mean, it has to go to sort of like, fuck you, that rather than, no, I'm just stupid and I don't understand. It has to be, and I'm doing this on purpose. Talk about pushing viruses out. So, old Trump.
I was going to say, talk about people not stepping down as well, and in like lines of succession. Yeah. So, the election. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna go. That's the thing. I didn't realise there was big talk about him, because he's got so many people behind him, just setting up his own media TV thing and just constantly saying, "I'm the president. I'm the president. They've cheated me," and people going, "Yeah, he's still the president," which is like, Jesus.
They were talking about doing that at the beginning of his presidency.
Oh, well,
they talked about doing their own TV network and getting the message out to the people.
Yeah.
You know, unfettered from the fake news and all that. But I think that died a death. I think they started the YouTube channel, and that didn't really go anywhere, basically.
It's Twitter. That's all you need, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, though. I mean, Roosevelt used to do his, I think he called them the fireside chats, even before World War II, and he would just do broadcasts regularly to the nation. I think they were called fireside. I could be mistaken.
But the fact that
they didn't have Netflix then, you see.
That's nothing to do. But the fact that he's got so many people following him, he could technically just go, no, this is my channel now, and I'm not leaving. I just think if he hasn't got any power, I think it's all rubbish, because I think he's got so many lawsuits coming at him. I mean, he's talking about, I might run in 2024. You go, no, mate, you're going to jail. You're going on the run, or you're going to jail. There's no other. And the more you threaten people, the more you're going to go to jail. They're going to make sure they have to put you away. And once the power's gone, that's him done. Like, if you can't just spout off whenever he wants. And the reason he got away with everything was because the Democrats didn't do anything to start with. So it was like running free range, and nobody said anything, nobody sorted him out. So he could just do what he wanted. But the only good thing that came out of the election was, what was the state that legalized drugs? Is it Oregon? Have you got your phone on you? Can you Google America legalized drugs?
I mean,
there's a lot.
I'm not saying we're all sat in
now,
front of computers. But
But I don't want to touch anything in case it goes down.
No, it's fine. I'll
it
try.
Might be Oregon, but legalized everything, like coke, meth, everything, like not just weed.
It would decriminalise, do you mean?
Yeah, I didn't read it. I'm assuming it is decriminalised.
Yeah, for possession.
I think it might be Oregon, probably not. Legalised drugs, 2020.
Yes, 6 days ago this story is, as in that's probably the one. Oregon becomes the first US state to decriminalise possession of, let's go into the whole story, hard drugs. Wow. Arizona, excuse me, gosh, you just can't go onto any website without being bombarded with cookie notices. Arizona, Montana, New Jersey and South Dakota voted to legalize recreational marijuana in nationwide push to relax drug laws.
So the marijuana's going down. But I was surprised by the Oregon one. Everything, meth, coke, the lot.
It seems to work, and some countries have decriminalised just possession, like personal possession of harder drugs. It has actually led to decreases in overall violent crime and sort of robberies and stuff.
Yeah, what was it? Was it Portugal that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they said the crime because people weren't having to go and sort of rob places, which is most of drugs. You go, it's just common sense. Every copper since the 80s has been saying, look, this does not work. We are just pissing in the wind here. But there's money to be made in private prisons and whatnot, so carry on doing it. There was listening to this thing in America about the private prisons, and they were tallying up how the different categories, and it goes up to like $130,000 a year for category A. And I think the lower ones are like $70,000 a year, so £50,000. And now the private prisons are over here. It's private prisons. Come on, what are you talking about? There's just a business now. You've got to have people in there to make money. There was a thing. Did I mention this before about the? There was a documentary, and I think it was about maybe Serco, and it was the biggest company you've never heard of. And it's like
Serco are in charge of the UK test and trace app that's been such a failure.
That's what I heard them. Yeah, but
And
their security, their pharmaceutical.
Do you know the head of that is? It's Nicholas Soames. No, Rupert Soames, who is Nicholas Soames's brother.
So who
He's
are these?
Churchill's one of Churchill's grandchildren.
Oh, Christ.
And his brother is a famous MP. Was famous MP. I don't know if he still is. I think
he was. No, he was deselected
chucked out the
after.
party, yeah. He was chucked out
I
the
don't
party
think he
over
was
that.
brought back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of them was about talking about how they invested highly in gangster rap in the 80s, but only gangster rap. And it turns out that they're part of the prison service. And you go, Jesus Christ, like it goes that deep. Like they were funding just gangster rap, just the hate the police rap. Just like that's how long term they're thinking. Just get people angry and effed off. And and we also invest in prisons. That's unusual. And then you get to the incarceration rate for black people in America. And it's like 2 out of 10 young black males are in jail. And you go, then it goes into the slavery about that they literally have more people now, black people working on cotton fields from prison than they did when there were slaves. You go, so it's literally they just move the marketing of it to prisons. We get you to build this, we get you to build number plates, but you're getting paid less, but it's not called slavery. We just put all the slaves in jail because of crimes to do with the drug.
Traditionally, drug laws are used often to stop and search younger people of colour, to be honest. I mean, that is the excuse given for most stop and searches in this country, I know, and I think in America as well, especially a suspicion of drug possession.
Well, they said in prison, I think it was like 72 in America, 72% is low-level drug possession. That's it. It's just a constant influx of just new people having been done with for nothing, sod all, really. Yeah. And most of that's going to be weed, to be fair. So it's like pointless. I get when I see the war and drugs thing with Nancy and what's his name, Reagan. I really think that is some of the most horrific things that have ever been done, just in terms of numbers of families that are ripped apart and crime and jailed and people this and that because of a pointless bullshit that was just to do with money. Anything in politics that's done on a big scale, it's always to do with money somewhere. Somebody's getting a lot of money from it. It's generating something somewhere. To be that stupid to go this low-level drug, we're going to bang you up for it for life because it's your third term or whatever, the third time. It was just so stupid. But it's like, it can't just be that. It has to be people behind us saying, look, we can't just bang people in jail, so we have to create things which mean a lot of people are going to be criminalised whether they like it or not. Weed, everyone's going to smoke weed, let's make it illegal. Right, that's it, everyone in jail, now we get the nice money out of it.
I mean, in the 80s, that was the big thing for the drug laws was they separated the possession of crack cocaine from powder cocaine, and then they put the jail terms for crack cocaine very, very much higher than the powder cocaine, because typically powder cocaine is used by businessmen and celebrities and cool people and idiots, bankers in trendy wine bars. You know what I mean? Whereas crack cocaine smoked by poorer, more desperate people. You know.
So the Trump thing. What are you thinking? I'm still sticking, and I hope this does happen, just so I can rewind and send it out to the media. Me saying he will end up in Russia because has no way of borrowing any more money in America. He's up to debt to his eyeballs. When he leaves, nobody's going to want to touch him. So he's just going to back himself into the corner. But he has to keep that delusion up of who he is. So he has to have a lot of money coming in. And the only people overseas, Russia, are just going to see another opportunity. Go, right, well, we can fund him. You know, on a little TV network, or we'll give you it. Come over here. And he'll go. In fact, I'll give another little prediction. So when he goes over there, he's not going to go to jail. He has to go to jail because of all the stuff he's done. But he cannot go to jail. He cannot break his delusion about who he is. So, but if it comes to the point where he's going to go to jail, he will. Russia will say, "Come over here, mate. Pop over here. You can have your channel. Call it Grand America or whatever. You can come over here. You can be a businessman. You can keep your delusion up." He doesn't care about America at all. He'll just go over there. And then, if you think of it in a Soviet way, my second part would be right now he's over there, which he's going to go over there. He can't stay in America because he'll go to jail. So he goes over there, and they say, right, because you've run away to here, now you're sort of a traitor, blah, blah, blah. The media sees him differently. Everyone starts to shut up, and then he is seen as a traitor. And then they'll say to Russia, we want him back because of this, that, his crimes, his taxes and all that. And they'll say to Trump, you become a Russian citizen. And so what's the date? What's the date today? What, the 9th of November.
So this is 9th of November.
So I say he's in Russia. The Soviets say to him, right, you stay, you become a Russian citizen.
Soviets.
I don't really know that. I mean, yeah, I've just seen movies. So they say to him, you stay here, become a Russian citizen, just reeling him in. He says, okay, I'll stay here. I'm still a businessman. I can have my channel and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then when they've sort of run their course with him, they'll say, look, mate, I know you're Russian citizens, but they really want you back. And unless you sort of tell us everything, we're going to have to send you back. So, big boy.
Didn't they do that to Snowden?
No, I don't think they've got any secrets out of him. Plus,
he went over to Russia and a similar thing. They were sort of
he's trapped there. They took his passport away. They didn't go that he can't get out.
Yeah.
But he's low level. Trump he knows all the secrets, and they have to say to him, look, unless you send us back, we want to know everything. We want to know who, where, what it is, where the stuff is, where the hiding, what the thing is. Tell us everything, or you're going back, mate. They'll squeeze every last little bit out of him. And then when he does it, they'll probably send him back anyway when it was 5 years later when nobody cares about him anymore. But they know all the secrets. So that's what I'm saying has happened. But he's definitely going to Russia because there's nowhere else to run. They're the ones, and because they're just playing him. He could run to other places, but Russia will play him like a little fiddle and say, come over here, be a businessman, be everything you wanted.
I have a prediction.
Scared?
Deep, manly voice there. Yeah, I have a prediction. I think he's just gonna. I don't know. I think he's gonna love the idea of still being called Mr. President. So I think he will hang around. He'll say, "I'm still Mr. President. They call me Mr. President. I must be the president still.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Why would they call me Mr. President if I wasn't? It doesn't make any sense."
I don't think his delusion can let it go. He's not. So he has to keep saying, "I've been cheated, so I am the president."
I think he's going to keep doing rallies.
Yeah.
Even though I honestly, I could see him like for the next 4 years because he enjoys them and his supporters enjoy them. They enjoy getting all jazzed up and like being catty about other people. I mean, I think he's going to carry on with those bits.
You've got to really into the mix is all the laws and the cheating once the taxes come out and all that. He's got crimes under his belt. And they're going to go after him. And the more he threatens people like the Bidens, the more they're going to want to bang him up. So he can't actually go out and just because he will come out and just carry on whinging and moaning. He when he's out of the White House, he will just carry on whinging and moaning on any platform he can, and he'll just be causing chaos to the Biden thing. He's just going to cause destruction to America, and the only way to stop him doing it, to stop him going here or doing a TV channel or whatever, is to bang him up. And he's done a lot of bad things. And when he hasn't got the White House lawyers around him now, he's going to have to go to jail. He's certainly going to go to court, but he won't even do that. He cannot stand in a witness box and give answers. He can't. His only answer is to go on the run. He can't do it. The people say about the TV channel, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. He's going to go to jail. He's done too much stuff, and the more he threatens people, the more they're going to have to bang him in jail. So he's got no platform. He's going to go on the run. I'm telling you.
I don't know. If it comes to that, they do conspiratorially. They do a secret deal. They either like you shut up, or we're going to lock you up with stuff.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He can't. He's too stupid.
He won't shut up. No, that's
so
the trouble
they're
is
going to
he
have
won't
to
shut
go.
up, will he?
He was just once he's out the office, he will not be out the office. He's got too big a spotlight, and he would even if it was that where. They because of the way they work, just go away, shut up, vanish, and that's the deal we're going to make with you. Just It's impossible. He cannot do it. He's got a delusion about him. He cannot just vanish now. He can't do it because he's going to nothing. So he will have to carry on doing it. And they're going to go, right, okay, let's have a look at these laws that you've broken now. The only way out is to bang him up. And he's as I said, he's committed a lot of laws. And then once his taxes come out and you've got mass fraud, that'll be this perfect storm of him making it worse for himself. In fact, somebody was saying, was it who's the Michael fella that went to jail for him? What's his name?
There's a lot of people that have gone to jail
Cohen?
for.
Michael, yeah, and I think it was on one of his podcasts. I only heard a bit of it, and he was saying people say, he's a genius.
They'll let anyone have a podcast.
He's a marketing guy. He's a marketing this. He said he's not anything. He's just on autopilot. He said because even when you tell him not to do stuff because it will harm you, he can't stop himself. Like everyone's saying, don't do the Muslim bat. He can't stop himself. He thinks, I know what's right. So there's no genius. He's just a bottom foot. He just carries on. And it just happens that he's come along at the right time. So he's not a genius. He's an idiot. He's a stupid idiot.
Yeah.
I was reading the thing recently and they were saying how all the family members are sort of going into him one at one, trying to explain to him, look, you have lost, but none of them got the bottle. But he said they're taking turns in sort of trying to edge in, look, we
Pat
might
his hand,
yeah.
gently.
Don't bring the house down around you because we're all with you. Don't.
Well, I
ruin
mean,
it.
Junior can't make it harder for Junior to run.
Yeah,
because he wants to run now.
It's ruinous. It's genuinely. It's an odd thing. I know he's an uncontrollable toddler mess, but you think even at the back of his head, he'd be thinking, this is kind of screwing over any legacy that I might have, my reputation, my image as president. You know what I mean? Any kind of positives that people might go away with it. It's tarnishing that, surely, but he just doesn't give a shit.
Did you see about the little thing that Rudy Giuliani just went on? Which was like...
his press conference?
Yeah.
His press conference was
where somebody on the radio
amazing.
said, you could not get that through to a comedy producer. They go, it's not going to work. That's too much comedy in one thing.
What happened? What,
it's in the thick of it. Yeah, it's the 4 seasons.
Oh, okay. So I know this. Yeah, the story. For those... unaware, and I'm not sure how you could be. Sorry, I thought there was a new one.
No.
There was a press conference given at the Four Seasons in Philadelphia, but not the Four Seasons Hotel. I believe it was Philadelphia, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be the hotel.
Yeah, it was meant to be the assumption is, obviously now no one in the Trump campaign will confirm, nor did I, but the assumption is that they meant to book the Four Seasons Hotel, but booked the Four Seasons. It was a carpentry shop, wasn't it? Yeah, landscaping shop.
Center, landscaping. Yeah,
and I believe it was next door to a sex shop. Now I don't know if that's made up for the story. And a funeral parlor
in between. Apparently, it looked like I was like, is this an industrial estate car park? Like, honestly,
it's very strange, isn't it? It's like one of those industrial. Yeah, but
it looked like a storage unit. You know, one of those kind of new rental storage things. It looked like one of those, and I'm like, what?
But it's an odd combination of shops as well, isn't it? You go, well, I'll go buy a butt plug, then I'll go and get some land, stuff to do my garden, and then I'll fill in my, I'll book the casket for now.
But it was
what's going on?
Because Trump tweeted it, they couldn't sort of take it back, so they all just sort of went.
Was he playing up? Oh, we're at the Four Seasons.
So they all sort of went there. But he said the journalist, I was reading from the journalist's point of view. He said when we got there, we thought this can't be right, but everyone sort of ushered in, started putting up the fences, and got everybody in, and it's in between a porn place, and he said, and on the other side it had a sign up saying Fantasy Island, like sticking out of the building. And then when he was there, that's when they called it, when he was saying, oh, Trump's going to win. And then somebody came out and said, no, they've called it. All the channels have agreed right now. And he went, all of them? And he went, yeah. All of them have said.
He said, "Who's called it?" They said they just called it for Biden. Literally during the middle of his press conference, he said, "Who's called it?" And they said, "All the networks, everyone." And he said a beautiful line. He said, "The press don't get to call an election; it's the courts that decide who wins an election."
Yeah, I mean, Jesus,
not the people, not the votes, just the courts.
The journalist, just to tie it off, he said when everyone was leaving, he said the guy from the sex shop was outside just sort of like amused, and he just heard a bloke going, "Are you open, mate?" And he went, "Yeah, come on in."
Yeah, well, he got that living, doesn't he? Yeah.
But also, just to get, again, what is this, like someone's just swinging by at whatever, 10 in the morning, just like, oh, got to get my sex toy, Phil. That was the wrong choice of words, wasn't it?
Got to get got to get those poppers.
He said it was fun.
You need poppers, man. You need poppers. You know what I'm saying?
He said the problem. He said it just started with them just phoning up the bloke and saying, "Is it okay if we have a little rally thing?" And he went, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, didn't go. It's
great advertising for the shop.
Are you sure you've got the right place? Like the Four Seasons. This isn't the Four Seasons. Like maybe he knew there was a mess up. People must have called him up by mistake before.
Yeah.
So he might have gone, right, we've got a nice little thing here. But yeah, it's just another clown show, just another one. The Four Seasons, come on.
It's beautiful, it really is. And what's really interesting, I think, is that they're slowly, like the Trump campaign and all the fans are slowly retreating back to the internet where they came from. Yeah, and it's that slow creep.
Shadows.
Because there's no legitimate.
We'll get you next time.
Yeah, well, honestly, like creeping away, just back. Because no legitimate news agency is gonna. They've stopped reporting on the stuff he's saying. They're not reporting the claims he's making because they're like, there is no evidence for this.
Yeah,
you are literally just making this up and trying to steal an election. This is highly illegal.
When he has no power anymore, he's got no political power. When he's gone, they'll stop peeling off. There's no need to be around him and let him. He'll just go off and do his own little thing. But again, the problem is he's got laws that are going to come after him. It's just going to New York for one are going to steam into him. He's got massive amounts of jail time if everything went right. Even if it didn't, he's going to jail. He's gone. He's out. He's going to Russia. They've reined him in since the 80s when he went over there.
He's going to the Soviets, apparently.
When I read a couple of books on it, or listened to them, I should keep saying. And one was the niece, and one was, who's the fellow with the white moustache? Looks like Colonel Sanders. John something.
John Bolton.
Yeah. And one. And he was saying...
Poor old Colonel Sanders just minding his own business, I feel getting confused with John Bolton.
John Bolton's killed more chickens than Colonel.
True. but Colonel's killed more humans than the chickens. I was going to say... Oh, yeah, so just a bit... He said one of the most shocking things was him thinking that Putin had something on him, because when he went to that meeting... When he said, I don't see any reason why it would be, that thing. Yeah. And he said he went in there one bloke and he came out another bloke. And that's when they said, oh, you're not allowed to transcribe what had been said. Remember he told the guy that was there not to write down what had been said, not translator, whatever, whoever records the thing.
The minutes.
Yeah, and they said you're not allowed to, even the Russians were allowed to tell people, but he said we're not allowed to. You're gonna have to erase that. But he said, he went in there one bloke, and he said you watch the interview. He said when he comes out and they go both at the podium, he said he's like really sullen, he's like really down thing. But he didn't go in there like that. He went in one way and he came out another. So I'm telling you, that's the way the Soviets do it, mate. When he was over there, they probably do it to 100 businessmen a year that might be something one day, young stupid people, and he went under there as a rich stupid person with a high profile. Give him your what was it? The women's. What was the thing you went over there for? The modelling thing?
Miss Universe or Miss World?
Yeah,
one of those.
Like Miss World, yeah. And then get him over there, stick him in a hotel. He's stupid. Video it and just stick that in the little, stick that in the locker with all the rest of the American businessmen ready for it in case something happens. And then they got him. And then from then on, he's basically what he's done to America is basically what a Soviet spy would have done. All the confusion, creating the thing. It's played out like the Soviets would want it to play out. So they've had something on him.
I saw a very interesting interview or discussion with this former MI6 person, and he was basically saying, or current MI6, I forget now, MI5, whatever, intelligence guy, and very intelligent man in intelligence. And he was saying that basically the Russians use oligarchs, kind of, instead of having agents and sleeper cells and stuff, what they do is that they let these wealthy guys go abroad and basically set up shop and use that money and influence. and getting involved with things like media, with politics. They're funding different parties, different sides here and there, and different interests, and they're using their financial muscle to influence countries rather than sort of having, like how you think of cells or
Well, you think now the whole reality TV and entertainment and reality stars, the new politicians or the new influencers are media people. That's who you would put in place. And here comes Wally. Like you just put a hook into him, just drag him by the nose, and then start telling him what to do. I'm telling you, I reckon he's been getting told what to do the whole way through the bloody thing. I reckon he's been manipulated bit by bit until he's just got sucked in, and then he's got no morals because he's going, look, I've sold my soul anyway, so I might as well burn the place to the ground rather than get caught. So there'll be a book, and it'll be The Greatest Traitor in American History, and his face will be on it. So there you go. So he's out. I don't know what's been happening in the last couple of days. I sort of had a break from it. I thought I needed to sort of clean my palate, so I sort of I was listening to the old Ricky Gervais shows just to let me just hear some absolute nonsense. And there was a nice bit actually. I'm glad I listened to it. It was the XFM days, the early ones, and it's funny listening to when Steve Merchant you can hear it's the first series when nothing's happened, and you can hear in his voice he's thinking, I've got to get out of this show. Like nobody's taking it seriously. Ricky Gervais is coming in half drunk. There's a bit where Carl goes, what's that falling out your pocket? He said, oh, that's me money. And he started laughing. He said, my feet are actually up on the desk and the money's fallen out of my pocket. And he's come back and he's eating chicken. And Merchant's going, can you put the chicken down? We are recording now, or going live. And he goes, I'm bloody hungry. But you can hear a couple of points where Steve Merchant's like, that it's borderline starting an argument of like, for God's sake, will you just do some work? Like, he didn't want to do anything. They're discussing the competition on the show.
Because he had a radio show for a while, didn't he, before that? So I think he was on BBC World and something else.
Who was?
Steve Merchant.
Oh, Merchant, yeah, he was in the background of it. Yeah. But it's funny, there was a bit, and I thought, oh, there's still hope. He said that he says, well, Merchant's having a go at him about something. And he said, I should apologise to the listener. He said, to be honest, he says, this show is more enjoyment for me doing it than it is to be listened to.
To listen to, yeah.
I thought, it just reminds you, there's others out there worse than yourself.
Yeah, it's not just us then.
And that's national radio. I mean, that's the XFM. Like, that's going at broadcast. Oh dear. What have you been up to anyway the last few weeks? Anything exciting happening, Charles, Andrew? Same old, anything new?
Well, the election sapped a lot of psychic energy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even our country, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always felt really weird about. I'd say it was like the slowest, shittest sports match ever, really.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly like, Minnesota's 95% counted, 8,000 votes up, and like you're like Ohio, that's only 60%, but they haven't had the mail-in ballots, and you're just all of a sudden we all became experts in all these rinky-dink towns and counties, and middle of nowhere places, and all these weird, eccentric, peculiar electoral laws for all these states and stuff. Again,
it's mental. Just watching the channels, just trying to keep up with nothing. Just, there's something happened here. Oh, that's counteracted it. So that was a load of nonsense. That last half hour meant nothing. Oh, look at what's going on here. Oh, that doesn't mean anything anymore because now we've done that. And you go, Jesus Christ, like, can you not just leave it for a bit? It doesn't have to be this sort of like getting ready for a wedding for like 6 months. Just constantly other stuff going on that it doesn't really amount to anything. And all the polls are always wrong. So why bother?
Yeah. Like in America they seem to be
constantly wrong.
I think just people lie. That's why. I think honestly, people lie. Yeah,
it's a bit like Brexit, isn't it? I think because part of the problem is that the argument descends into Brexit. It was really interesting, I thought, to begin with, it was like, oh, okay, wow, people having lively, impassioned debates. There wasn't name calling, and then the Remain vote basically just settled on, if you vote Leave, you're a racist. And so, funny enough, people didn't want to talk about wanting to vote Leave. And I'm sorry, I don't think everyone who voted Leave is a racist, not at all. But it was just like, well, then funny enough, they don't want to talk to you about it. If you're just going to yell at them and say that they're racist, whatever they say, so, well, actually, I think it's the economic. No, it's because you're a racist. And it's like, well, funny enough, they don't want to talk about it. And they say, oh, no, I'm voting Remain. And you go, well, you can't all have voted Remain because Leave won by not a huge majority, but it won. And it was the same with Trump. Oh, I didn't vote Trump. I didn't vote Trump. Oh, I didn't vote Trump. Well, he's got the second highest votes in history.
Yes, the highest for
this
a losing
time.
candidate.
This time round.
Yeah.
This time round.
Yeah.
But the fact that
with everything that we know,
ethnic minorities had gone up, with like the Cubans and the black women, it started voting for more.
it's because they were saying that the Hispanic vote. Well, this is the theory. Again, it's not like what did they do? Get every Hispanic person together and ask them at the, at the Grand High Conference of all Hispanic people in America. But one of the theories was that because Republicans labelled labelled Biden as a socialist and said, Democrats, socialism, and because of the Cuban Revolution, that is, because in America when they say socialist, they mean communist.
Yeah, but the like the black vote people. There was I listened to. I usually have a podcast in. I left the phone in the boot, and I couldn't be bothered to pull over, so I just put the radio on. It was on LBC, and there was they were talking about Trump, and there was a black fella was on. They said, "Yeah, I'm a black man." They said, "I love Trump," and I'm thinking, "Oh my god!" And the more he spoke about it, the worse it sounded, because she was saying to him, "Look, tell me why you like. What is it you like?" And it was just nothing, just running around in circles. Can't actually pinpoint why.
Oh, okay.
Like she's saying, "But what about this?" Yeah, but the media twisted that to make it sound like this, and I'm going, "Oh god, that's like a proper." That's like you're in a cult. You're trying to force yourself to see what you want to see. I thought, God, that's something odd. That's like really weird. But then a woman phoned up afterwards. She said, I'm a black woman. She said, look, there's a lot of racial insecurities with people. And there are people, she said, I know some that will vote more for white people than black people because they think it makes them better than other black people. Like there's a weird psychology that goes on with certain people in certain races.
Well, it's aspirational, I think. It's like a lot of people in this country, a lot of very poor people in this country voted for a Tory government last year that was going to cut taxes and make life a lot easier for rich people and a lot harder for them. And it is, I think, aspirational, especially with right-wing things, because people think, okay, I'm not going to be in this position forever. I want to be one of those guys.
Right? Yeah.
I want to be one of the rich guys. I want to be the one having to worry about, paying tax over 10 million or whatever. So they sort of, that's the aim. It's like when I get there, when my kids get there, we want everything to be good. But it's a complete con. It's a complete con. Yeah.
Come to it, they're pulling you out the buildings the same as they're pulling anyone else out the buildings, mate. Like oh god. So Andrew, you've been. What do you think's going to happen? I'm going for the traitor in Russia. Charles is going for the TV show in America. What are you going for?
Well, I think he'll just potter around. Actually, is what I'm saying. I think he'll stay in America and just kind of just not really ever accept that he never mentioned the fact that he lost the election and just pretend to be president. Really.
But how does he survive? Like, the property thing's not going to last long for it.
Yeah, but he'll just get people. Taxes. He'll redirect money from. He's got all these. He's asked for a
Russia
fundraiser.
would prop him up.
Yeah. But bearing in mind, they'll prop him up in America. Then he's just he's a fifth column. And he'll redirect money from. They've raised millions and millions for all these legal court cases, even though he's a billionaire and could really pay for it himself, apparently. They'll just use that will pay off the tax bill, and there'll be fundraisers for this and all of that, and there'll be, because he'll if he goes down, he'll take everyone with him.
Yeah.
So they
if
can't
for some
take
reason
him down,
he didn't go to jail, if for some reason he didn't go to jail, he's still a perfect speaker for Russia. So they just have to keep him going, just keep the record going as much as possible. Give him a channel, give him platforms, pay for his rallies, just keep him attacking his own country.
But also the politicians don't want to start opening up and saying like, hey, let's start putting politicians on trial.
Let's get money out of it.
Yeah. Because then it's like, that's the...
It sets a precedence, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's why I don't think... the Supreme Court, everyone's saying, oh, well, the Supreme Court's now in favour of him, but they're not just going to flout the law. They might block things, but they can't say, oh, this can happen and that can happen and whatnot. They can prevent recounts, but they can't say, oh, we're going to throw out this and throw out that. But also, there won't be if they do this, if they try and block Biden getting power, there won't ever be another election that isn't contested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that we need to look forward speech coming out. No, you need to look back. There has to be repercussions. Otherwise, the president can go and shoot somebody.
No, I think it'll be a case of everyone goes to jail but Trump.
But how does he?
I'm not in favour of this.
No,
I'm just saying he will take too many people down with him. And again, I think it sets a dangerous no pun intended. It sets a dangerous precedent that otherwise, what other presidents might go to jail.
Yeah.
What other former presidents might go to jail.
Yeah. No CEO wants to see other CEOs go to prison, basically.
Well, that's
they're all in the same. He's dug into that club now. If
the
he
money
lost
situation.
that doesn't matter.
They're all on
He's
the
just
same
bankrupt
flight
on
logs.
bankruptcies. They're all
No, but that's what I'm saying.
They'll
The
be
reason-
siphoned this and that.
The poison in politics is the money. That's over any power. It's beyond power. It's everything. So, but if both sides are taking the money, then it never gets fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you got things called corporate Democrat. Think of like what liberal used to mean. Like you'd have one right over there and one right over here, and then they're basically just touching each other with like the donors. It's basically the donors do pay both sides. They pay them both just to make sure that you owe us both.
Which is what a ridiculous thing, because they. I remember before the American election, a lot of experts were saying the economy is going to crash if Joe Biden gets in. The stock market won't like Joe Biden being in. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They're absolutely fine. There was a stutter over the election period or over the uncertainty when the count was there. Things going back to normal.
That's the only thing the stock market doesn't like is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Once stuff doesn't matter if they're like, hey, the Earth is spinning towards a vortex, but they're like, but we know exactly when. Well, that's fine then.
Yeah.
If we don't know when it is, if you can't tell us when the vortex is appearing, then it's market uncertainty.
Yeah.
But if you can say like, oh, next year, you'd be like, oh, that's fine.
When is he actually supposed to take over the presidency? Is it January?
January, yeah.
I think
Early or
it's
late?
mid.
So they're saying Trump's got all these months to ruin it, or he's already fired. I did see it. Sorry, I'm just
Secretary of
very
Defense
sneakily
or
look at
something,
the
wasn't
news.
it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean,
For what reason?
who knows? Because he can.
Well,
How does that help him?
I wonder what conversation he had with the Secretary of Defense that made him fire him.
But why would that?
Conspiratorial, I know, and there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
evidence to this, but the guy who's in charge of the army gets fired
Oh, right.
after a conversation with Trump.
Yeah, you don't want somebody put in place of that lot now.
Well, maybe he was asked to do things that he was uncomfortable with, or said that was completely illegal. Like, no,
Yeah.
I can't use troops or the army. I don't know. Who knows? I don't.
Yeah, but
But
just
it
go and
seems a bit
barricade
odd.
me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, what reason would he have for how does that help him? Oh, right, protection. Just a big protection unit.
Well, he might have asked him to use the army on American soil. I don't know. It's
I don't think that would ever
no.
happen.
Well, it
I don't
would.
think
Well, I
he would.
suspect he's stupid enough to ask it. But no
Yeah,
one's
that's
ever
right,
gonna yeah. People are just going to go, no, I'll go to prison. That's illegal, and it's wrong. No, I swore in a.
So has he actually fired him?
Yes.
So could he not just come out and say if it was that? Oh no, this is why I've left because this, that, and that. Morally, I think he's got everything on his side.
I think that would, if that was the case, that would be very very heated and controversial.
It would also mean that guy would never work in politics again.
Well, he's in the army. He's not the politician, is he?
No, he's the defense secretary.
Oh,
Secretary
right,
of
I see what you
Defense.
mean,
He's
right,
not
yeah,
the- he's
yeah.
not the
He's not
he's not the head of the
technically,
army,
yeah.
whoever that is this week.
He'll save it
It's,
for his telltale book, tell-all book.
Yeah, exactly. Or he wants to be president one day.
Well, we'll see how much of the country burns down. I've booked us 3 tickets to Oregon while we've been talking, by the way.
Hey!
Nice.
Oh, cheer us up, Charles. What's going on in the comic book world? Let's take us. What's that cup you just saw? Well, I saw some pictures on that cup.
Batman.
How did you see that? Cool, you're
I saw
right.
the
You're
bat
trying.
signal,
I saw the bat signal.
Yeah, I must go.
Oh, I forgot, Anne Harriet. I have a meeting with the.
Right, Charles, you've got to be one Superman. What are you going to do? You're going to fall in a vat. You're going to be in New York. You're going to trip over and fall in a vat of something, and you can be any Superman or superhero, and you're stuck with it.
Yeah, boring, but Superman, because you can fly and you just live really long. So,
Do you think
it's
if he
very
was
boring.
Superman, you would actually go out and help, like do things, or would you just hide it? In the real world now, pulling into the real world, you've got those powers now. So if you do, the real world's going to see you. So today you've got the powers. Invisible, no, everyone's going to leave you alone. You just get up to no good. But you've got the powers of Superman now. So what are you going to do? You're going to come out with it?
Well, I remember there's some really good Astro City stories, which is an independent comic, but it did a lot of stories about characters. So there was one about some guy who was supposed to be Superman, And basically, he was sort of felt very guilty every second he wasn't doing it, like out saving people, because he could just hear it. He could hear disasters and earthquakes, and people screaming, and kids starving, and like he just knew all this stuff. So he knew every time he wasn't out there helping people, people were dying. So
they've covered every story comic books, haven't they? No matter what you come up with.
Well, I mean, Superman's been going for like 80 years, isn't it?
So what happened to him?
He just felt incredibly guilty, and he dreamed of flying. There's a really good one where he just dreamed of flying, and like he just dreamed of just flying and enjoying it. You know what I mean? And going through the clouds and enjoying seeing the world. And he could never do that because he was always having to zip around at like super fast speed everywhere. Right. It was only in his dreams was he able to relax and and fly.
So what happened to him in the end? Then did he make a decision?
That was it. It was just a little sort of.
Oh, he didn't go anywhere. It just
it's just about this dude and his guilt and his motivation to help people.
Well, they didn't tie it off. There's no sort of ending to it.
No, it's just I said it was an independent series of comics called Astro City, and they had facsimiles of all these different. So they had like guy who was like a bit like Batman. They had some people who liked the Fantastic Four, and they had some mutant type dudes who liked the X-Men, and they had a Captain America and stuff. They weren't those characters, but they were facsimiles, and they were able to do interesting stories, slow stories. It wasn't all big action, biff pow, lots of fighting. It was more sort of smaller psychological thing, about how these dudes felt,
Right.
And I like them.
It was the original Joker film. It was like the arty film about like he's not actually superpowers, but he's got like this deep meaning thing. You've got the superpowers today. What do? Do you come out and do anything? What would Charles do?
I'd probably be like Shazam and just stand on the street corner and do loads of tricks for like money. So because he's like Shazam's like a 12-year-old kid. He turns into like
always straight to the street corners trying to earn money. Yeah,
like fully grown, like adult. He's basically like Superman, and he just goes to like tourist spots for a while, and he's like doing all these lightning things, like just to like busk because he's like a 12-year-old kid. He doesn't have any money. Like it's funny.
What can Superman do? Fly, bulletproof, heat-proof. He goes to a volcano once in one of the films, doesn't he?
Yeah. Laser vision.
Laser vision. See through eyes.
Yeah. And as I said, longevity. He supposedly can last.
Is there any sort of well-known flaws of like, hang on, that doesn't work, or something? How does his heart beat?
Kryptonite.
No, I mean like. Does he get old? Like there must be some flaw in the comic of like, right, well, how does he get old then? Or something like that.
He eventually does die.
Oh, so
it depends which continuity. But he eventually dies of old age.
So he can get older?
Yeah, he ages very slowly, but yeah, he can.
But the comic books stop at like 30 or something. There's never like a 70-year-old. Like, what are his powers at this age?
Well, DC keep rebooting it. Like they've rebooted their universe.
But they've never let him get to like 80, even in a comic book. He's never got, right, this is 80-year-old Superman. Retired Superman. Okay, so he can get old and die. So he can die then.
Well, he has died.
But how? Not kryptonite, I mean.
No, well, Doomsday killed him.
How did he kill him?
Just punched him lots.
No. What?
Yeah, had a big old fight with this big, huge monster dude, and Superman died.
Who's Doomsday?
A crap character they literally just invented to like kill Superman.
But what is he, like the master of universes or something like this? But how can he get beaten up and die? He can't get beaten up and die, surely.
We got beaten up that badly.
But I've seen him taking some punches. He seems to just bounce back with no bruises. Why did this bloke kill him?
The comic's called Death of Superman. Spoiler alert, I thought.
Charles
is going to fall off his chair.
He's gone through his library.
Comic.
He's just wheeling himself.
Many comics.
He's wheeling himself across his comic book aisle.
I can see it.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Death of
clean as a whistle, that is. Look at that. Not even a fingerprint.
It's in a bag as well, because it's not very good paper quality.
God. So why can he kill him and not... other people must have beaten him up as well.
Yeah. He has
reason?
a weakness to magic and stuff as well.
But he just got axed.
Oh, yeah, I forgot magic.
Yeah. What can he do with magic?
He's a weakness. He has a weakness to magic.
Which... the death fella had magic.
No, the death fella was just super hard. Like Doomsday was just super big, super tough, super mean, and yeah.
So who killed Death? Superman. Who killed Death Magic or whatever his name is?
Death Magic from Planet Forbidden.
What was his name?
Doomsday.
Oh right, get me words mixed up. Who's
They killed each other. They killed each other in the fight.
How did Doomsday die then?
He died in the fight as well. They both died. They punched each other so hard. They literally punched each other so hard at the same time that like they just died. But except Superman didn't die because he came back 6 months later.
Except he didn't die. Anyway, next on the series.
And that was the beginning of the end for comics. Kind of.
These aren't real.
because people stayed dead up till then.
Right.
And like everyone has stayed dead. People have died, characters have died.
Then
Tim
capitalism
Drake,
kicked in.
Second Robin, he died, hadn't come back. And like I think Batman had just broken his back at this point. People weren't coming back. If you got screwed over, you're done.
So Jason Todd hadn't come back?
No, because that's Red Hood, and that was the noughties, 2010, I think.
So do you think you've got your superpowers? You've pissed around for a couple of weeks, thinking this is great. Do you think years in, are you still going to be hiding it? You haven't told anybody. Could you do that, or would you eventually throw off the cape and just sort
of? I
feel
like Theo's trying to work out if you're Batman all along, all this time.
See if he'll join me.
It would be a lot of effort, wouldn't it? Eventually,
because everything around you would change immediately. All the people would change around you. You'd have to become.
So like winning the lottery, wouldn't it?
You'd sort of have to be all in or all out. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things that like the world will drag it out of you if you show a sign. I mean, the army aren't going to be your friend, are they? You'd have to they'll come for you, who you are and what you can do. You'd be having tests, which you wouldn't have to put up with. But then you sort of go, well, what do I do here? Do I just sort of fight everyone?
It's interesting, I suppose, because most modern comics have done away with the secret identity.
So it's just everyone's out and they're sort of used to it.
Most people, there's a couple still. I think Spider-Man's.
Yeah, but I never understood that surely the army would just be constantly trying to get you to get your power to go right.
That's the plot of a lot of comics, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Hulk. Yeah. Hulk, that's very common.
Thunderbolt Ross, yeah.
Yeah, so they're never going to leave you alone. So you can never get to that point where you just what's the one with Will Smith?
Hancock?
Yeah, because I can't remember but these sort of.
They were aliens, weren't they? Wasn't that the?
But it was just the fact that they sort of just left him alone. And, this bloke's superpowers could change the world, but he's just just leave him let him go up to whatever he's doing. You go, that would never happen. They're constantly going to be trying to find a way to cage you and stick needles in you to find out what you are. They can't. There's no way they can't. Your life would be ruined. You wouldn't have time
to register or some kind of act.
Right.
Yeah.
So correct. I think Charles is going to try and keep it secret. He hasn't made his mind up yet. So Andrew, you wake up tomorrow. Any Superman, any whatever you call
Superpowers.
super person. You've got to have what they've got.
Yeah.
Who are you going for? And Superman's taken. Who would Andrew go for? Something good. Something. The ladies.
Something the ladies.
Something. He's got that little ego in him that he does. Spider-Man, no chance. He wouldn't be seen dead in all that gear. It serves no purpose. I don't really know. Who would you go for?
I think Batman is always cool, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, Batman. Yeah, you got
it's
a bit of a dark
such a hassle
streak.
being Batman, though. And he's miserable when he's not
Dead
Batman.
parents, yeah.
You would have had to be depressed slightly every night. You're never going to be happy. That's what Carl Pilkington says. When Ricky Gervais said to him, what superhero would you be? And he couldn't make his mind up, and they're telling him stuff. What about this? He goes, nah. And he goes, but they're never happy, are they? He goes, he's right. None of them are happy.
No.
Hulk, they're all miserable.
Thor's usually quite happy.
Who?
Well, he's fairly chill,
Thor.
isn't he? Yeah.
Thor.
Except
Yeah.
He's got quite moany recently about being worthy and not worthy, and then everyone was worthy, and then no one was worthy, and then
why does he not
worthy.
Why does he not just go back to his planet? Why is he still here?
Ugh. Like you
I'm not being
anti-alienist.
Yeah, why is he here, sort of thing? Is there any reason?
For
Is it
jokes,
just ignored?
it's fun.
Was he banished? Was that always the story, wasn't it? Or I can't remember.
Right.
I can't remember the
coming
origin.
back, doesn't he? He keeps coming back, doesn't he? So
do you ever see
does he still have the secret identity as
Donald Blake?
I kept wanting to say Adam, but that's He-Man, isn't it?
Did you see the original Incredible Hulk with Louis Theroux when they did the one with
Yeah,
Thor?
Louis Ferrigno, not Louis Theroux.
Oh God, yeah.
I
would watch that though.
Yeah.
So are you angry now? Is these type of things make you angry at all? Yeah.
I quite like this impression. That's a new.
I was listening to there's a podcast, and they're going back. These two journalists, they're going back through all the early Louis Theroux documentaries one by one, and they get to the wrestling one, and he's like, "Oh, poor sod." He said before the wrestling one, he'd made the mistake of why the guy was so pissed. Oh, what was the guy? Colonel. Oh, whoever the nutter wrestler was that put him through his paces, because he said, "Is it real or not?" And then they tortured him when he was doing the wrestling. He turned up late, like an hour late to the training schedule already, after having already called it fake, like saying, "Is it fake?" Then he turned up an hour late, but he turned up an hour late because he made everybody wait while he went and had a full breakfast. So he said he turned up there with a full belly of food, pissed off some roided up lunatic.
Not what you want.
They chased up that guy, the nut. I can't remember his name, the Colonel something. But he's now a sort of a business development manager for like a construction.
not Sergeant
Sarge,
Slaughter.
that's it, Sarge. Yeah,
not Sergeant Slaughter, surely.
But it's called Sarge, yeah. But he's a development for a construction site or something now. Head up, pure red head.
Like a medicine ball.
Yeah. But yeah, that was quite a good podcast. They were just going through the old ones and had all the backstory, and they were following up with people that were in it. They called them up to sort of say, like, "What are you doing now?" sort of thing. Yeah, it's a nice little podcast to break the monotony of the politics.
As I said, because they had that compilation show of Louis Theroux, clips best of, and as we were saying last time, like it seems very quaint, some of those earlier ones.
Yeah,
because they're like, did you know that some people out in the Midwest are white supremacists? Who'd have thought? You know? And you go, some people are wacky and have weird conspiracy theories about stuff. And you're like, what? You're like, I never knew that. That like in the 90s and like early noughties. Nowadays, it's just mainstream. Nowadays,
we know you're in a freak show,
papers.
so yeah.
It's in the papers.
There's someone on the radio talking about like the mental health of America and going, right, maybe we didn't realise how bad it was, and they were showing the have you seen the video of the spiritual advisor to Trump, which is a joke.
Was this the lady? There's a couple, wasn't there?
Was it the guy, the positive?
No, it was a woman. No, it was a woman, and she's screaming about the change is going to win, and she keeps screaming it. And that's the woman in the White House, spiritual advisor for him, who's a clear nutter, like off the scale, just a lunatic, screaming about Jesus and Trump, he's going to win, and just carrying on and screaming about it. And you go, that's not some nutter at the back of the internet. She's in the White House. He's her spiritual advisor of Trump, which again is a joke. But you go, I don't know who the nutters are. Like they're all like, she's a lunatic, he's a lunatic, he doesn't believe in it, but she probably doesn't believe it. You go, oh my God. So they were saying like, and the fact that now you give America a pass because of when he first got in, you go, well, we didn't know the reality show, he was broke and all that, but now you know, and you've seen the worst of him. And half of the country still voted for him.
He got more. Did he get? I think he got more votes this time round, didn't he?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Because the second, it's the because the previous record was Obama, I believe, about 69 million. Trump got more than Obama, and Biden got 74 million.
Wow.
I'm assuming surely there's more people as well. That's got to be factored into it.
Well, not but not enough.
4 years.
You wouldn't expect it to be that many within. I mean, Obama went out in 2016. In 4 years, you haven't got a million more votes.
But if you just look at everything he is and what he's done, and half the country still voted for that, they said, that's the bloke I go for. That says
250,000 dead fellow citizens. Race riots, unresolved race issues, regardless of what you think, that they didn't take any leadership. Those riots went on for months, and he didn't do. If he's supposed to be a big, hard and tough on crime, and defending suburbs and all these other dog whistles, he didn't do anything to stop them. He just let them carry on. There was no leadership.
Built the wall. Did nothing. Like didn't do anything. Did sod all. But then it can only be likened to a cult. That's the only thing where people really are spiting their noses, spiting their faces. Yeah. And no matter what he does, they try, like I was talking about the black fella that found at the radio station, just as to distill it. You could, when they were just asking him questions, you could see I'm trying to get my delusion around your questions. I'm not accepting what you're saying, but this and everything is you're lying and the media, just to sort of these mental gymnastics just to make your lunacy real. Anytime you put a camera in and ask them basic stuff, just trying to get around. I mean, Trump himself, the one that he's hypnotized himself, you ask him questions and just to see how do I answer these. I mean, even the Giuliani thing, what we was talking about, when they asked, said, oh, like all the channels, they've all called it, and him going, well, the channels don't call the election and we can't trust them. And you go, God, they've got to keep jumping around to keep this lunacy. It wouldn't be so bad if it was like half true, but it's just the absolute nutter. And you're all trying to sort of lie to yourselves, that's the definition of like being in a cult. That's a cult. I mean, I wonder what Scientology have been. What have they been up to with all this? Have they been backing him? I'm assuming they've thrown him a few quid.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I'd have no idea what the.
He'd have them as the national religion. Do you know what I mean?
Is he Trump's not a Scientologist.
No, but I mean, just that I'm surprised they didn't cuddle up to him and say, "Listen, mate, we're like you. Like, we've got no morals."
Political stance or something.
Yeah. What do you want? We can teach you how to do it. We can put our things in schools.
I think they just want to be left alone. Like, I think they're just. We just want to go be weird over there somewhere. And no one.
We've got enough.
Don't come and look. If you hear any weird noises, don't come. That's fine. Whatever
Any
happens.
screams.
Yeah. Anyone comes running through the woods, like barely clothed, just send them back.
Yeah. Just net them, but we'll come and collect them.
The lads chasing them with the big nets. Yeah. Like butterfly nets.
Oh God, it's depressing, isn't it? Where does this stop? Like, I mean, you want to say, like, even before we went back to Trump, things weren't great, but now he's just gone into that sewer, like the bottom of the sewer.
Hey, don't worry. Joe Biden will fix everything.
Yeah. But I keep thinking maybe, like, you have some smart nutters out there, like Pence and all that lot. Well, they're talking about, what's the guy on Fox News, the host?
Oh, what's his? Oh, Hannity?
Yeah, saying, not Hannity, who's the other one?
Oh, no, the new one. Oh, what's his name? I can think. I know. I've seen lots of his stuff.
Sean Hannity.
That's Sean Hannity.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. Yeah.
Saying what he knows now that there's half of the country are brain dead, so he might just now step up and go, right, let me polish up the act a bit. I know what to do. I know what not to say, what to do, because Trump got to where he did, being a moron, like being an idiot. So all you need now is some smart ass to go, right, well, maybe I can sort of slip in there and I know what to say and what to do and just get my foot in the door.
I always said that as well. Like, Trump isn't really the guy I'm scared of. It's the guy in 2, 3, 4 election cycles time.
He's had the door open for him. Go, look what could be achieved.
Someone who's actually competent. I mean, thankfully, the saving graces of Trump was he was utterly incompetent.
Yeah.
Stupid, dumb as a box of nails. Utterly incompetent and selfish.
Yeah.
If he actually was evil, I mean, if he was actually evil and competent, he could have done so much damage. He really could have. Thankfully, fingers crossed. There's 250,000 dead Americans who'll say different, but hopefully Joe Biden can undo a lot of the damage.
But like
hopefully,
I said,
fingers crossed. Hopefully he will.
Now all the smart people can go. I didn't realise we could do this. So all we got to do now is come in, get all the soldiers on side, plenty of money for them, keep everybody happy over there, and then just jam their foot in the door, and then just kick it in once we're in. Oh God!
Because he's a symptom. I mean, that's the awful truth, is that Trump is a symptom of something
that's the funny
nastier
thing.
and uglier in America.
He has released the poison. You've seen the pus underneath the skin with Trump. He's just released all that sickness to the top. We go, oh my God, I had no idea we were infested with maggots in the country.
I suppose I didn't think that there was that much stupidity.
Yeah.
There was
for the
that
second
much.
You would have. I thought it would half. I thought it would be a landslide because people have just gone like, but I didn't notice nearly half.
It should have been a slam dunk. It should have just been a slam dunk by. It should honestly. It should.
He'd done nothing right. Everything
happened,
wrong.
Yeah.
Oh God.
With everything that's happened, it should have been a slam dunk, and it is worrying that he got more votes. And I felt like this when W. Bush got elected for the second time. I felt the same. I was like, really? We've just had a couple of years of disastrous wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The world's looking a bit of a mess, and you think, oh, yeah, you've seen 4 years of this. You think, we want more of that. That's great. Yeah. It's going well.
But Trump just to take it to the extreme of being such a stupid, embarrassing, moronic person with all the deaths and building nothing, and you went back to him again. God blimey! Oh right. So I think we'll call it a day there. I've got it all out of my system. Anything nice going on, Andrew? What's going on, mate? Something nice happening?
Not much, just working lots, but yeah.
Yeah. What's going on in the background? What's that box? You bought some new equipment?
No, I think that's the box for this microphone. What, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the box for this mic.
Oh, you got a new mic then?
No, it's the same one.
Oh, you boxed it?
Well, yeah, I did when lockdown ended. I was like, there we
mate,
go.
as soon as I
back
plug
into-
something in, if it works, the
Quint's
box
be
goes in
needing
the bin.
that again.
Yeah.
I bought.
I could eBay this. And
Yeah,
then...
same. I thought I'll put that in the box. We won't be needing that for a while. Yes.
I think we managed to do a good 2 shows before.
Yeah, don't put it in the loft. Just keep it down there.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought a computer chair and waited 3 days for it to turn up. Got it all out. Built it. Took about half an hour to put all the bolts together. Put all the right bits. Then 3 of the bolts were missing. One of them was just for something that was completely wrong. Had to unscrew all the bolts I'd already put in, somehow get it back in the box. Took it back down. I thought, I knew I shouldn't have got it cheap. Thought, right, I'll go to Ryman's, get it, proper chair. Waited a few days for it to turn up. Got it, squeezed it in the car, got it here, unpacked everything, got it all out. One side's ripped, back in the box all out. And I thought, oh, for God's sake, just allow me to do something. Why am I being tortured constantly on all fronts? Yes, so we need some good news to end on. Anything good? Charles, so you back down? I don't know which one it was. Planet Forbidden? What was it called?
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Planet Forbidden sounds better.
It doesn't.
No,
I mean, if you're Yoda,
it sounds like a sex shop itself. Actually,
it's actually a thing in Star Trek. They have a character who's saying they can't go in Star Trek 3.
Yeah.
Genesis is Planet Forbidden.
Genesis.
Were we talking about your Superman book before the podcast or after we started recording?
What?
What?
We talked about that about 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Oh, right. What did you buy?
That's
when
another
you were
one of
out
them hits in the head coming back.
So you got that for free. What did you buy?
Oh
when you was
my
in there?
Superman book. Yeah, I have a novelization of the movie Man of Steel.
Oh, that did
I was
happen
given
before
to
the
for
show,
free.
wasn't it?
Oh,
I
what was
could-
it? Yeah,
I
he's
could
slagging
barely
me
be
off.
bothered to lift up my hand and pick it up, put it in my bag.
So disdainfully.
They also used to give me loads of free vampire novels. I don't know where the hell they are. I think they might have been sort of lesbian or something. Like vaguely titillating, but like
Sorry, what? Oh, right, erotic
yeah,
fiction.
that type.
Right.
Like
Was it
less
pre-internet?
horror and more
It was pre-internet.
titillation. Yeah, sort of. And I'm like, they were like, "Do you want these?" And I'm like,
Well, I have to put it in my bag myself. No, I'll
Yeah.
do it for you. Go on then.
"Well, I just thought I'm never going to read them. They're just going to be on my bookshelf and look weird."
Unless your butler turns the pages for you.
Tweezers.
Yeah, exactly. Reads it to you as he
Yeah.
tucks you in at night.
If forced upon you, like a government burst in and they say, right, we're taking you away forever. You can take, like Sophie's Choice. You can have one book or comic with you. What one do you take with you?
God damn it. What's my favourite?
You've only got one.
I
The
don't
rest.
know. That's all my children, isn't it? Like,
I'd
It's
find
Sophie's
it hard
Choice,
to pick
mate.
one book.
I think honestly, probably it's a boring choice, but I think one of the best comics I recommend to people. They're like, oh well, I'm interested. I like superhero stuff and Captain America, blah blah. I always say Batman Year One. I think Batman Year One is really solid, and that is like that was written in the mid '80s, and that's basically the first year of Batman doing his thing. So it's Batman's origin story, but done recontextualized in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
And it's just really good. Frank Miller, and it's really, really good. It's really solid, really well written. The art's great.
Frank Miller's
and-
the main comic book drawer, isn't he? He's a top comic book or writer.
He's a
or something.
writer and stuff. He did 300.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
Sin City, a bunch of the stuff you would have has been adapted, and Dark Knight Returns as well, which is a big one, big Batman story about the older Batman.
Did you it's not really podcast material. Did you get that job?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Oh, well done.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
that's
good news.
it,
What job is this then?
I'm working.
Are
for
you
the-
allowed to say?
I won't say too much because I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm working for the Royal College of Nurses, which is the representative body of the nurses in this country, in the UK. So
that's it. Is
helping
it
out
full
a bit.
time?
No, but
Between the okay.
it's at home. It's work from home, so it's
You're able to feed yourself. That's the main thing.
yeah.
Got to keep
So
in comic books.
Well, he's able to pay his butler to feed him.
Yeah.
so yeah, no, I mean that's been interesting, and it's positive. It feels like it's a positive thing to be working on. You know what I mean? Because you're dealing with work grievances and stuff, and from nurses and people, frontline workers, care workers. And stuff. So it feels like
you're
it's
fighting the good fight.
Yeah. It feels like
way.
it's a positive thing. Like I'm only doing very minor things with it, but feels like I'm contributing to something.
Your work you was talking about, Andrew. Is that full time? Is that a temporary thing? Contract?
No, full time.
Oh, okay, that's all right then. So everything's going well.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Oh, what a trendy street cred guy you are. Right, well that'll do. That'll end it there. So we're back recording from our home studios, and we'll be back next week with more cracking entertainment. Yes, I did.
Cracking
laugh.
entertainment, not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's not legal. So there you go. So we will see you next week if the country, America's still America. If it is still the United States of America.
I think it'll still be
Hey,
America.
we got a few days. We got a few days of kind of moderate hope before he just comes in and starts just snobbing us to everything. Yeah, I feel relatively more hopeful for some stuff like Brexit and Britain's sort of short-term future, immediate future now. Yeah,
I haven't got a clue what's going on with that. I thought is the line passed.
Not technically. They've all of a sudden started racing around trying to get a trade deal sorted.
At the last minute, right after years, right? Yeah.
Because Joe Biden's just said basically, if you screw over the Good Friday Agreement, then there will be not a good trade deal.
Oh, right. So that's kicked the dust up a bit. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that further down the line. Well, that's number 93, and we shall see you next week.
Cool.
Cheers.
Woozle wazzle.
Cheers,
Bye.
everyone.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be alive.